The rise of Gen Z slang. Hi everyone, thanks for being here today. For my project, I decided to explore a topic that's really relevant to our generation, Gen Z slang and how it connects to social media. The main goal of my project was to analyze whether slang helps or hinders communication in our digital age. As we all know, social media has such a huge influence on how we communicate, and slang is a big part of that. It's not just words, it's the way we express ourselves, build community, and even define who we are in this fast-paced world. So my main question was, how does slang, which is consistently evolving, impact our daily conversations, relationships, and even social interactions? To make my project sound a little more personal, I decided to interview my sister, who is also part of Gen Z, to hear firsthand how she experiences slang in her everyday life. We had a conversation about how she uses slang on social media, group chats, and even face-to-face interactions. What I found most interesting was her take on the fact that slang helps her connect with her friends, but sometimes creates a barrier between herself and older generations. My sister mentioned that when she tries to explain certain terms to older people like her parents, they don't always understand, and that can lead to some miscommunication. But for her, using slang with her friends feels natural and helps build a sense of belonging. This conversation made me realize how slang is more than just about words. It's about identity and group dynamics, especially online. While slang has its benefits, it also comes with a fair share of challenges. One of the biggest issues is how quickly slang terms can change. What's trending today may be outdated in just a few months, and what might be cool to one group might not make any sense to another. This constant evolution of slang can make it hard for people to keep up, especially if they're not as engaged with social media or certain online platforms. For example, some slang terms may only make sense with specific circles or context. I asked my sister about this, and she pointed out how sometimes even within her own friend group, some slang terms can be hard to follow unless you're consistently exposed to them. This highlights how slang, while creative, can sometimes lead to confusion if it's not universally understood. Social media spreads slang fast, and it can feel like everyone has to keep up. Some people feel left out or judged if they don't use the right words. Slang on TikTok, Twitter, or Instagram isn't always easy to understand, especially if you don't spend a lot of time online. Not everyone wants to change how they talk just to feel included online. My interview showed how even some people who are active on social media don't always feel connected through slang. It sometimes does the opposite. Now, the big question is, does slang help or hurt communication? Based on my research and interview, I think the answer depends on the context. On one hand, slang is an essential tool for expression. It allows us to communicate quickly, creatively, and informally. It gives people, especially those younger generations, a way to express their personalities, humor, and even frustrations in a way that feels authentic. Slang also helps foster a sense of community among people who use the same terms, whether that's through shared interests, subcultures, or online spaces like TikTok. However, on the flip side, slang can create barriers. People who aren't familiar with certain terms may feel left out or confused, and it's especially problematic when slang is used in professional or formal setting where clear communication is key. In some cases, slang can even make someone seem less intelligent or articulate, which is an issue when it's misunderstood by others. After reflecting on the pros and cons of slang, I've come to the conclusion that it's a double-edged sword. It can absolutely enhance communication, allowing people to bond and express themselves in unique ways, but it can also be divisive if using in the wrong context or with the wrong audience. For example, slang in online spaces like Twitter or TikTok can feel empowering because it's giving users a voice and creates in-group communication. But when we step outside those spaces, using slang in professional or intergenerational settings can be misunderstandings. So while slang can be a powerful tool for self-expression, we need to be aware of our audience and how our words might be received. Ultimately, I believe that the key is balance, using slang appropriately in informal spaces while being mindful of its limitations when speaking to a broader or more diverse audience. For this project, I relied on a few key sources to help me understand the impact of slang in our communication. I looked at research articles that discuss language evolution and how social media influences the way we speak. I also use articles from linguistics experts who analyze how slang emerges and why it's so important for groups to have their own forms of expression. These sources gave me a solid understanding of the project and helped me contextualize my findings. It's interesting to see how language, particularly slang, is consistently evolving, much like the internet itself, which changes every day. These resources help me gain a deeper understanding of how language is shaping the way we communicate now and in the future. Thank you all for listening to my presentation. I hope this gave you some insights into how Gen Z slang is affecting communication today. As we continue to live in a world dominated by social media, slang is bound to play an even bigger role in how we express ourselves. It's exciting but also a little challenging at times. But the key takeaway from all of this is that language is always evolving and we have the power to shape it. So whether you love or hate slang, it's clear that it's here to stay. If anyone has any questions on this topic though, I love to hear about them. Thank you and have a great day.